Hey everybody, welcome to today's little lesson from the video I posted earlier in B minor pentatonic. Well, B minor pentatonic was the scales I was using over a blues progression in B, and the chords were just simple chords for a 12-bar blues riff. I recorded 6 of those, I believe, so that I can put solos over them and then give a little lesson later on after I post the video. So as I said, B minor pentatonic were the scales that I used. So we have pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, and pattern 5. If we go back to pattern 1 and go in reverse, it connects to pattern 5 here, and then pattern 4. So plenty of notes to play on without messing around with those open notes. As I've said before, I don't care for using open notes in solos a whole lot. Not that it always sounds bad, it's just a personal preference. But we can go all up and down the neck with what I've just shown you. There was one spot in the video where it just sounded awful because I accidentally went into the key of C, which is a half step away. And you never want to do that. That's just too much tension. When you're creating a solo, it's good to have some tension and then resolve that tension around the root notes. Remember the root notes, for instance, in pattern 1, we have the root notes here, here, and here. And when you resolve on those root notes, it kind of eases the tension within the plot of your solos and your phrasing. But if you create too much tension and you're going to a key that's a half step away, that's like in a movie killing your main character and not necessarily the beginning scene, but at some point in the plot, it's hard to recover from that. But it was just a slight little mishap within a 6.5 minute solo and 6.5 minute improvisation, I guess you should say. And that wasn't the only time I messed up, but the cool thing about blues is usually when you mess up, as long as you resolve around that root note, you forget about it. Your audience forgets about it. There's supposed to be some tension there. And I did a lot of tapping at some places. Remember, I like to generally start around that G string in pattern 1 when I'm tapping. Not always, but it's a good place to think about starting as you're memorizing the patterns. And if we go all up and down the G string, in B minor pentatonic, we're going to go here. So we're tapping between patterns 1 and 2 on that G string. Remember, pattern 1 is pattern 2. And if we stay on the G, each note is a half a step apart or a whole step apart between patterns 1 and 2. And then when we go up to between patterns 2 and 3, we have the first 2 notes here and here are a whole step apart, and then we have a step and a half apart here. So basically, I usually talk in frets instead of steps. So we have 1 fret in between the 2 notes here between patterns 2 and 3, 2 frets between the 2 notes between patterns 3 and 4. When we go to patterns, 2 and 3. 2 and 3 is here, 3 and 4 is here. We have two frets between those two, 1 fret between those two. And then when we go between 4 and 5, we have 1 fret between those two, 2 frets in between those two. That's just the easiest way for me to remember. You might have a different way, whatever's easiest for you. Everybody's brain works a little bit differently. So you can go all up and down that G string and tap if you go. So remember here, we're in pattern 4. Pattern 4 appears here and here on the neck. So if we're tapping, we start here. We have one fret in between the first two notes, and I'm using my 1 finger and 3 finger on my fretting hand and my middle finger on my picking hand, and just doing triplets. Hammer on, pull off to that note right there, which is the note with the index finger on, or the 1 finger in pattern 4, and then I hammer on with the 3 finger in pattern 4. And that's between patterns 4 and 5. Then we go upward between patterns 5 and 1. I have 2 frets in between the notes on pattern 5, 1 fret in between the notes on pattern 1. Then we go between patterns 1 and 2. Between patterns 1 and 2, we have 1 note, or 1 fret in between the notes on pattern 1, 1 fret in the notes between the notes on pattern 2. And then we would go between patterns 2 and 3. We have 1 note in between. We have 1 fret in between the notes on pattern 2. We have 2 frets in between the notes on pattern 3. Sorry, I'm stammering all over my words here. I should just shut up and play, I think. But I'm gonna get better with time. I apologize. But this is patterns 3 and 4. We have 2 notes in between, or 2 half steps or 2 frets in between the notes in pattern 3. And then we go to pattern 4 and we have 1 fret in between the notes on pattern 4. We go between 4 and 5 again. Now, the cool thing is that same sequence of however many frets are in between the notes on each pattern, it reappears on each string. So, just like on pattern 1 with the G string, we have 1 note in between, or 1 fret in between the notes. Same way here on the B string, when we have pattern 4, we're starting in that same spot. Those are those same notes in a different part of the fretboard. After a while, you don't even think about it once you play those for a while, so you'll just that's pattern 4 again. So we go all the way from pattern 4, 4, 5. So we're going between patterns 4 and 5 here, between patterns 5 and 1, between patterns 1 and 2, between patterns 2 and 3, between patterns 3 and 4, between patterns 4 and 5. There's the 3 dots there, there's the 3 dots there. And if you miss one, you hear it right away, like I just did there. You hear that's off, so you can just go back. And sometimes I'll do the tapping in between just playing regular notes. When I bend, I tend to pinch the string that I'm bending on with my index finger and the pick. Kind of out of view there, but basically I'm pinching right there with the index finger and between the index finger and my pick. And I really like that lick when this is all within pattern 1. You bend up with that second note on the G string in pattern 1, and then when you sweep those 2 right there. So hitting those 2 notes, and then you hammer on with the pinky on the B string on that note on pattern 1. You'll hear me repeat that several times. See, I can only do that. I can only add those in because I have it memorized exactly where I'm going on the fretboard. I could probably come up with a better way of explaining that, or maybe if I just keep repeating it and I get better at explaining without stammering all over my words, you'll get the picture. But basically it's a good idea to memorize how each string connects within the patterns too, as well as how the patterns connect. So we know when you go all the way up each string, you can go up and down. So you see how each pattern connects. You're connecting each pattern. You can also do the same thing on one string between the patterns. So just think about where these go. You could just go, if that's easier for you to do it that way. So you're just thinking about it. So that way you know not only how the patterns connect, but how each string connects the patterns together too. So that when you're tapping, after a while, you won't have to think about it. You'll just... Anyway, that's the way I did it to memorize. Just think about how many frets are in between the notes in each pattern and go up and down the neck with each string until you've got all of those memorized. And once you have all 12 keys memorized, you have pretty much everything you need. I should say that you don't have to memorize all 12 keys, just memorize how the patterns go together in one key, and then you can apply it to each key is the best way to think of it, I think. Anyway, today's was in B minor pentatonic, so I stayed within that key. Since I'm playing on a clean channel, you can play 3 notes within the pattern at the same time, and it sounds pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to stop there for today. Again, sorry about all the stuttering and stammering. Right now, I don't have a lot of people watching the videos, so it's probably a good thing until I kind of iron out my speech and get better at this, but I do plan on doing this for a long time. If you have any questions that you need clarity on, any of the concepts or any comments, feedback is welcome. Thanks, and hope you have a great day. See you soon.